You know that feeling, don't you? When thoughts just, well, they just seem to be there, maybe overwhelming you,
Mhm.
like you're kind of powerless over your own mental state. A lot of us feel that.
Yeah, it's a really common experience.
Yeah.
But what if you could actually choose your thoughts consciously?
Okay,
Yeah,
consciously choose. That sounds huge. And that's what we're getting into today, right?
exactly. We're looking at some really powerful insights drawn from the power of chosen thought. It's this fundamental idea that you have this ability.
So, in this deep dive, we're basically unpacking how one person's, well, really intense personal crisis sparked this philosophical breakthrough, something that changes how we see control, choice, maybe even what's possible for us.
And it didn't just come out of thin air or some, academic ivory tower. It came from deep personal struggle, lived experience.
Okay, so let's get into that story. It starts back in 1869. There's this 27-year-old Harvard Medical School grad, William James.
Right, William James. Later becomes a huge name in psychology, philosophy, pragmatism.
But back then, he was deep in what the source calls a crisis of meaning. Really severe stuff.
And not his first rough patch either. Medical school was already tough, interrupted by illnesses, depression.
Yeah, but this was different, apparently.
Yep.
Way more intense.
Oh, definitely. The source is clear on that.
I mean, severe feels like an understatement. He was apparently contemplating suicide for months.
Yeah, and there's that observation from John McDermott, who edited James's writings.
Oh, yeah?
He noted James spent a good chunk of his life basically rationalizing why he didn't commit suicide.
Wow, that tells you how heavy it was. It wasn't just a passing darkness.
Absolutely. And he was having panic attacks, even hallucinations. He saw his father go through similar things, so he kind of felt doomed, like it was biological.
Like it was insurmountable, just wired into him.
Exactly. Utterly trapped in his own head.
Okay, so he's in this really dark place. Then comes 1870. He's still struggling, but he reads something, an essay by a French philosopher.
Charles Renouvier, yeah.
Yeah.
And this essay, it just clicked something for him. It was the turning point.
Yeah. What was it about the essay? What did Renouvier say?
Well, it offered this definition of free will. And for James, stuck in that feeling of being biologically determined, this definition, it was like a lifeline. It offered a possibility he hadn't allowed himself before.
And his journal entry from around then, it's really raw, isn't it? It captures that moment.
Oh, absolutely. He wrote something like, I think that yesterday was a crisis in my life. He'd finished reading Renouvier.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he says he sees no reason why his definition of free will, the sustaining of a thought, because I choose to when I might have other thoughts, need be the definition of an illusion.
Right. Sustaining of a thought because I choose to. That was the key part.
And then he makes this decision right there. He says, at any rate, I will assume for the present until next year that it is no illusion. My first act of free will shall be to believe in free will.
Isn't that incredible? His first act of free will was deciding to believe it was even possible.
He didn't wait for the feeling to change. He didn't wait for the depression to lift. He just decided. He chose to believe in choice. It's an active step, taking agency.
Instead of just being passively swept along by his mental state.
Okay.
So that this moment, this choice, what does it mean for us practically?
Well, it became absolutely central to pragmatism, the philosophy he helped found. The core idea. We can choose one thought over another. We can essentially control what we think about.
Hold on, though. It's important to get this right. He wasn't saying we can just stop thoughts from popping into our heads.
No, exactly. That's a crucial distinction. If you just sit and watch your mind, thoughts,
Yeah.
well, they just flow, they appear. You can't really stop that initial arising.
Okay. So the power isn't in stopping the river of thoughts.
Right. The power lies in deciding which of those thoughts you're going to focus on, which ones you sustain. That's the act of free will James was talking about. That's how you direct your consciousness.
Ah, okay. So the source makes that distinction. Like, instead of saying, I can't help but feel this way, versus I feel this way because I decided to feel this way. Or rather, decided to focus on the thoughts leading to that feeling.
Yeah.
The emphasis is all on that act of deciding.
Deciding what to sustain. Got it. And this isn't just like philosophical navel-gazing. This has real-world application.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is where the rubber meets the road. The source argues that with practice, you can actually get better at this, better at controlling your thoughts, deciding what to think.
And the payoff.
Tangible improvements, better quality of life, but also things like better career outcomes.
How so? Like, give me an example.
Well, think about something like procrastination. Often, that's driven by sustained thoughts about how hard a task is, or fear of failure, right?
Sure, yeah.
Using this idea, you could consciously choose to not sustain those thoughts and instead focus on just the very first tiny step. Decide to think about that. It directly impacts your actions, your productivity.
Okay, I see that. So controlling the focus changes the action. The source even says this ability, deciding what you think, might be what the most important thing in life.
Pretty much, yeah. Because your thoughts shape your reality, your outcomes. The result of your life depends on them. It even says, when we improve the way we think, nothing is impossible to achieve, which is a bold claim, but it shows the potential here.
That's huge potential. And this connects to other thinkers too, right?
Yeah.
Emerson.
Yeah, Ralph Waldo Emerson. He was actually William James's godfather and a big inspiration.
And Emerson had that really simple but profound line.
You become what you think about all day long.
Right. It just nails that link, doesn't it? Between the internal world, our thoughts, and the external world, our actions and reality.
Exactly. Actions follow thoughts. So if you want to change what you do, you first have to change what you think. You can't really separate them.
And that realization, that's where the work starts. That's where the power lies.
So recapping James's big insight, it wasn't about stopping thoughts cold. It was realizing you have agency, you have choice over where you put your mental energy.
Choosing which thoughts to sustain, to cultivate almost?
Precisely. Redirecting focus from the thoughts that drag you down and intentionally focusing on those that serve you, that move you forward.
And understanding that core idea that you can decide what you think, what you focus on, that seems to be the foundation. For feeling better, sure.
Yeah.
But also for actively shaping your life, your career, everything.
It's not about controlling every random thought that flickers through,
Yeah.
but about the deliberate, conscious choice of where you place your sustained attention.
Okay. So, as we wrap this up, maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. Consider a challenge you're facing right now, or maybe a goal you have. How could applying this principle, this idea of chosen thought, how might intentionally deciding which thoughts to sustain about that challenge or that goal, how might that shift your approach, your perspective?
And maybe, just maybe, shift the actual outcome. It's a powerful question to sit with.